Hello, this is Denton Yoder, instructor for BSE 2304, the Biological Systems Engineering CAD class. Today's lesson is going to be about horizontal alignments. We are actually in the last section of our class. We're going to do a topic called corridors, and corridors consist of about 4 different things put together. We will start out with horizontal alignments, which is the horizontal location of where a linear object is going to go. Examples of that would be a road, a sidewalk, a ditch. It can be anything in a linear pattern. Very commonly, stream restoration projects and roads are done with corridors. The horizontal alignment details where the path goes. The second thing we will do is a profile, which will be the vertical alignment. The profile view or vertical alignment will control the grades going up or going down, how steep, that type of thing. Thirdly, we will create an assembly, which is the shape of the channel. If it's a ditch or a road, what does it look like? What is the shape of it? And then fourthly, we will take that assembly and push it along our road at the grades of our profile to create a 3D corridor. And our 3D corridor, last of all, will let us contour it and compare the volumes of our existing ground before we did the work and after we did the work to know how much dirt we moved to do our project. So we are beginning the end right now. Okay, so an alignment, there's a lot of different ways of doing it. An easy starting point to learn it is to use the polyline command. PL is the polyline command. And some of the things I like to do, if I'm dragging a polyline, I can click on my coordinates to turn them off, click them again, and it'll show me a distance and an angle. So let me zoom out a little bit, and I can see, oh, that's not a very big distance at all. Let me zoom out some more. It's not going to let me zoom very far. Well, let's go ahead and go with it the way it is. I'm going to hold an angle that I want and type in 250. And that will draw 250 feet out. I'm going to get out of this command, double click my wheel to do a zoom extents, and double click some more and erase that and start all over. Now that I'm zoomed out further, I'll be in good shape. Polyline. So with the polyline command, I can pick a starting point and I can see my coordinates on the screen. So I can realize, am I going 400 feet? Am I going 500 feet? And what angle, I can see what angle I'm going. So I can kind of see what I'm doing. If I want to, I can type distances in. So like, for example, if I wanted to go 500 feet at 10 degrees, I could just say at 500 angle 10, and that would go 500 feet at 10 degrees. I can also put in what are called bearings. I can say at, let's go 600 feet, angle south 80 degrees 10 minutes and 30 seconds east. So I just told the machine to do a bearing by doing at a distance less than and gave my angle as a bearing. Okay. And let me just continue down some random amount and hit enter, and I'm going to say that's enough to do my alignment. On my ribbon menu, home, alignments. So home, alignments, it's in the create design section. Alignment, about a third of the way down is create alignments or create alignment from objects. When I choose this and pick my polyline, and I always pick towards the beginning. If you're drawing single segments, that makes a difference. I don't know if it makes a difference with a polyline, but with single segments, it does depend which end you pick towards the beginning is where you always pick. Okay, it's showing an arrow saying this is the direction my alignment is traveling. Do I want to use that, or I can type in R for reverse? That's fine, so I'm going to hit enter to accept it. It'll bring a dialog box up that lets me fill in what I want. The defaults are normally pretty good. I hate the way it names things. You know how it does alignment dash and then evaluates how many alignments you have. So it would say alignment 1. I'd rather put in alignment road. I'll find that easier to understand what I'm looking at. We're doing a centerline alignment. You technically can do other alignments offset from the centerline, but centerline is the default. It's a good one. Starting station. If you know that the project is going to be extended at the beginning, or if you fear it may be extended at the beginning, instead of starting at 0, you could put a 100 or a 1000 as your starting station, and that would leave you extra room or address space at the beginning of the road. That's more of an advanced topic. You can tie it to a site, create a new site. I'm just going to go with none. And I'm going to turn off the automatic curves. If you leave those on, it'll just put a 200-foot radius on every curve. I've never done a project where every curve was identical, so I didn't find that very helpful very often. It's going to erase your object to replace it with an alignment. That's fine. I'm going to do an OK. It erased the plot object, put in a feature line, and labeled it as an alignment. Okay. If we select the alignment, and you're going to be doing a lot of picking of your alignment for putting curves in and things, don't give the computer two choices. Don't put your cursor on the text or the tick marks. Make sure you put it on the alignment object. When you select the alignment object and right-click, you'll get a context-sensitive menu. And the Edit Alignment Geometry will give you a toolbar that'll let you control the alignment. Just to look at the overview of it, I'm going to go close to the end where the Grid View button is at. And it doesn't need to be that big. Okay, let's drag it up here somewhere. No, I don't want it to dock. If I hold down Control, I can put it somewhere without it docking. But anyway, so that tells me I have 1, 2, 3, 4 segments, which matches what I have on the screen, and it says here's what their lengths are, here's what their directions are. You can actually come into these and edit data, but it would be easier just to edit on screen. To edit on screen, you can just pick it and edit it on screen. That was easier. When you do that, your data in your spreadsheet will change. Okay. Escape that. Close my resource window. Adding in curves. Well, before I even add in curves, the alignment creation tools gives me the ability to work with drawing tangents, which I've already drawn as a polyline and converted it. This will let you add in vertices or delete vertices, change vertices, more alignment tools. The two main things I'm going to do on this toolbar, though, are really adding curves, and I can get a free curve fillet. That's my favorite and the one that will be on the exam. A free curve fillet between two entities with a radius. So I found this one to be the most common curve that I use. You pick the line leading into the curve, the line coming out of the curve, and it asks you, is this greater than or less than 180? I'm going to hit enter for less than 180 because I don't want a loop-to-loop. And this is, what kind of radius do I want? I'm going to put a 350-foot radius, enter, and you need one more enter. It put my curve in, but it didn't label it. If I hit enter one more time to say I'm done, it put the labels in. And the labels are going to be something that will be on the exam. So the way things are labeled, we have a beginning point of the alignment, and every intersection is a point of intersection, a PI. When you put a curve in, you now change it to a PC, point of curvature, and a PT at the end. So you have a line, and then it changes to a curve at the point of curvature, and it changes back to a tangent again at the PT. So that was putting a curve in. Once again, you hit the free curve fillet, you hit the line coming into the curve, the line going out of the curve, less than 180, and you type in a radius. I'm going to put 500 on this one, enter, one more enter, and the PC and PT have been labeled. Now I've got a place for another curve. I'm going to do a different one. So I've mentioned that the free curve fillet is my most common curve. The second common curve is a spiral curve spiral. A spiral curve spiral, or a spiral, is kind of like an on and an off ramp for a curve. All your real highways and things have spirals instead of straight curves. The idea of a spiral is to give you a transition distance to go from what we're going to call an infinite radius down to a tight radius, and then back out to an infinite radius again. So, example of that. 2 buttons over from the curve is the spirals. And free spiral curve spiral, that's the one you want. Free spiral curve spiral, line coming into the curve, line coming out of the curve, less than 180, and it says specify radius. I'm going to put a 500-foot radius curve in, and then it says what is the spiral length in and the spiral length out, and I can set those. I'm going to drop down to a 150, 150, enter. I needed that extra enter for it to label. So what I have is a 500-foot radius curve, and before the curve and after the curve is a spiral going from an infinite radius, where you're still going straight, and slowly transitioning into the 500-foot radius. Coming out, it goes from the 500-foot radius, and over 150 foot transitions to an infinite radius. It makes an extremely smooth curve, but also makes a longer feature because you have the distance in, distance out. In a typical design environment, you will also shift the pavement lanes during the spiral. So the example would be, let's take Talladega Raceway. As you approach the curve, the outer or the lanes will start banking to make it easier to go through the curve. Then once you hit the curve, you will hold that banking the entire way around the curve, and then the spiral distance allows you to transition the pavement back down to a normal flat or crowned lane. So it's a transition zone of radius and also often the pavement. We are not going to design any spiral curve. We're not going to design any of the transitioning pavements. We'll just leave that out. Okay, but what we have done is the horizontal alignment, and we've labeled it. For class, you're going to need to do at least 3 of these, so practice with them a bit. I'm going to do a second one real quick, polyline. I'm going to make one go from here to here to here to here to here. And that's real ugly, but you'll get the idea. So I want to alignments, create alignment from objects, grab it, enter. Yeah, that's right, enter. And this one's going to be alignment. Let's call it weird ditch. That's wired. That's not weird, is it? I can't spell. Is that right? Weird ditch? Okay. Weird ditch. And what if I forget and leave the curves in there? Okay. Am I stuck with that? No. To call the toolbar back up, I select my alignment, right-click, edit alignment geometry. Since I selected the alignment and right-clicked, it knows that I'm on the alignment weird ditch and not on the road anymore. There's a delete subentity option that will let me grab a curve and nuke it. How is that for easy? Or if I want to put them back, I can go back into my free curve fillet, a pick, less than 180, give me 100 foot, pick, less than 180, give me 100 foot, pick, less than 180, 200. That's it for this class. Have a good one. Bye-bye.